Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well. We've got quite a big transfer update for you guys. Finally, a little bit of news in regards to incomings. Although it possibly isn't the news that you want to hear, but we'll get into that. As always, do let me know your thoughts on today's news in the video in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But finally, we have got some news on incomings. It felt like a really slow week or two since the start of the Premier League season as well, really. But we've got some news, and there is some movement in the market for Wolves, and it could be a busy last sort of 10-11 days or so of the transfer window. We will start off with Aaron Ramsdale. That's probably the main talking point at the moment amongst Wolves fans. Something that's divided the fan base, I can say, but interesting one. Let's get into the details first. Now, Aaron Ramsdale, it's been reported quite heavily pretty much over the summer, and nothing really is coming to fruition, but Wolves' interest in Ramsdale is genuine. They do want to bring Aaron Ramsdale into the club, and they have made their first official offer for the Arsenal goalkeeper in what is a loan offer with an option to buy. Wolves will cover the majority of the goalkeeper's wages, and at the moment, no real response from Arsenal. But Wolves, from the Wolves' point of view, they understand this is a very tricky deal to get over the line, because obviously Arsenal will want to recoup as much money as they can for Aaron Ramsdale. Ideally, Arsenal want to sell him on a permanent basis this summer. But obviously, as we creep closer to the end of the transfer window, certainly you will see Arsenal and Ramsdale wanting to be a bit more desperate about a move coming to fruition. Now, so many factors and so many elements, in my opinion, will affect this deal. If I try and give my point of view, for one, I don't think Ramsdale is a poor goalkeeper, don't get me wrong. I don't think it is a massive upgrade on Jose Sarr either. It's always nice to obviously have a homegrown player, an England international in your squad. I think that is obviously a massive plus for me. But I'm just not overly convinced. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I'm not overly convinced it's a huge upgrade on Sarr. Secondly, obviously, his personal past, he's a West Bromwich Albion fan by the looks of things. He's mimicked that to Wolves fans. He's put that on social media posts as well about that. And again, you know, this is his job at the end of the day. I don't think he's going to get the ball and throw it into the back of the net because he's a West Brom fan. Of course not. He just wants to continue his career as a footballer, and he can do that in the Premier League with Wolves. So I am undecided on this one, to be completely honest. If for whatever reason, well, I say that, but if this deal does go through, I will back him as long as he's wearing a Wolves shirt, because that's what we've got to do as Wolves fans. I'm just not overly excited about this signing, but certainly I think it will. You know, he's not a bad goalkeeper. Certainly not a bad goalkeeper, but I just don't see at the moment if he's a massive upgrade on what Jose Sarr offers us. Hopefully Ramsdale, in terms of distribution, is a big improvement, but we'll wait and see. We'll have to wait and see if Dan Bentley will be part of a make-weight deal. I would love in an ideal world. Obviously, Jose Sarr is a big factor in this as well, because if you have to find a buyer for Jose, or whether he's going to stick around as number 2, he won't be too happy with that either. But an ideal world for me, if this signing is to go through, Dan Bentley goes as part of the deal. Jose Sarr moves to wherever, mainly possibly Saudi for a decent amount of money. We get Ramsdale in as your homegrown option, and then Rui Patricio on a free as the backup. I would love that. I would love that, but it doesn't really solve much for us in terms of the homegrown quota, but that'd be a nice little scenario. But Aaron Ramsdale, genuine interest from Wolves, but maybe one that goes down to the wire. And also, having a goalkeeper when your season's already started, ideally you want them in the pre-season, getting used to their back four in front of them and so on. But yeah, we'll wait and see. In terms of centre-back, there has been some movement on this front as well. It looks like Wolves have turned their attention to the Burnley centre-half, Dara OShea. It's said by some sources that Wolves have made their first offer for the Burnley defender. As far as I'm aware, more of a traditional defender. In terms of aerial duels and so on, he's very solid. But in terms of the distribution and the ball-playing side of things, maybe leaves a little bit to be desired. But I do feel for Dara a bit. Not that he reads social media or looks at the Talking Wolves tweets, but there's been a lot of backlash on this. And again, I just think it's because it's not an attractive name. I don't think he's an awful defender. Don't get me wrong. Do I think he's an immediate upgrade on what's already there? Do I think he's better than Santi Bueno? I'm not sure. Great option to have around, don't get me wrong. But I think if his name was Dario or OShea, I think people would be warming to this a lot more. But because he's playing obviously for Burnley and Irish player, I don't think people have warmed to it because it's not as much of an attractive name or attractive player. But I'm not fully against it. I just don't think. I think this is, and we sort of mentioned it on the podcast, this is the signing where if Wolves just want to carry on walking at the same pace and sit at the same level in the Premier League table, this is the signing. But as fans, when you're paying more money for your season ticket, you've received a lot of money from the sales, you want that step up. And this doesn't maybe feel like that step up at the moment. Good sign, okay signing, don't get me wrong, but I just don't feel like it's that step up right now. And it's been reported as well that if someone like Dara OShea comes in, Santiago Bueno may be allowed to leave on loan. And again, this is something I've mentioned in videos and on the podcasts. If obviously fans are desperate to bring another centre-half in, but it's all well and good having depth. But ultimately then, you've got Craig Dawson or Santiago Bueno who's going to become fifth-choice centre-back at the club, which both of those aren't going to be too impressed with. So you've got to find that level of depth, but that level of happiness and harmony in the squad as well. And as it stands right now, if another centre-back comes in, Santi Bueno, obviously not overly fancied by Gary O'Neill right now, will be able to potentially leave the club on loan this summer. So centre-back talk, not quite done. We have been linked with another one today, but very early days, and someone that I doubt will... Wolves will go for is the Paraguayan centre-back Omar Alderete, currently playing for Getafe over in Spain, 27 years of age. Reports there have suggested that Wolves have inquired for him, but nothing concrete, no concrete talks as of yet, but maybe one to keep our eye on there. But yeah, going up to the winger talk now, Carlos Forbes is the man at the moment the Wolves want. He is the option. In Wolves' minds, it's the closest possible replacement for Pedro Neto. If Wolves can get the numbers to work, a bid will be made. Now, by saying, I mean that, what I mean by that is if numbers to work is if we lose some numbers up top. And I fully agree with this. We're desperate to replace Pedro Neto, but ultimately, you've still got Gonzalo Guedes, Daniel Podence, Chiquinho, Fabio Silva, whose wages and values have all been added back into the squad. Ultimately, you need to lighten the load a little bit to reinforce in that area. So, Podence, who I'll talk about in a minute, may go. If you lose Fabio, who's obviously on his way out, that's when you can start talking about this Forbes deal. Now, Ajax are probably going to be wanting 20-25 million for him, which again is a decent amount of money to be chucking at this, but still a good player. It's thought that if Wolves can't get a deal for Carlos Forbes, they may have to look at the South American market again, which we have done previously, and Matt Hobbs has got a pretty decent eye for those South American talents from some of the players that we've been linked to and pursued in the past. But Carlos Forbes, certainly Wolves' number one winger target at the moment. Daniel Podence heavily linked now to Al Shabab in Saudi Arabia. It's thought that they've made an approach to Wolves. Daniel Podence is open to the idea of moving to Saudi Arabia. Nothing agreed as of yet. Wolves value Podence at around 10 million. So let's see if a deal... I think that's more than a fair deal. I can't believe Olympiacos haven't jumped at us at that price either. But 10 million for Daniel Podence is the option, and you would assume clubs in Saudi Arabia will jump at that. I'm surprised we've not seen a lot of movement over in Saudi right now. Just seems like it's been quite slow over there. I'm waiting. Is there going to be just a massive bang over the last couple of weeks of the window where players go? Fabio Silva, it's thought that Genoa might be coming in with their second offer. They've had an initial offer rejected. Again, Wolves want Fabio to move and leave on a permanent deal. But the closer it gets to the end of the window, Wolves will then obviously have to look at potentially agreeing to a loan deal with an option to buy maybe. But Genoa looking like they may well come back in for Fabio. It was reported by the Express that Wolves value Fabio Silva at £17 million, but absolutely no way on this planet will Wolves get that. I think if someone comes in with 10 million, you shake their hand, say, Fabio, it's not worked out at all, and they move on. But Fabio Silva is another player that Wolves really need to move on. Ligue 1 club Auxerre are close to signing Keanu Hoover on loan, according to sources over in France. L'Equipe have said that Keanu Hoover is set to join the Ligue 1 side on loan So obviously loan move to Sheffield United failed, but I still think that's a pretty decent level for Keanu Hoover. Obviously a player that as of right now does not have a long-term future at Wolves. There's still a lot of players. Luke Kundle, future up in the air. Joe Hodge still at the club right now. A lot of players on wages just sat at this club at the moment. That it's going to be a busy 10 days or so. I really think so. But Auxerre looks like the move for Keanu Hoover. And finally, Nathan Fraser has got his loan move. However, again, such a strange move for him. Second division of Belgian football to Zulte Waregem, I think. Used to be a top division Belgian club. Lost out in the playoff final last season, I believe. So they'll be hoping to push for promotion again. But second division of Belgium. Very, very interesting level for Nathan. I'm sure if he does well, there will be a recall clause, I'd assume, in January for him. But yeah, Nathan Fraser will spend the 24-25 season out on loan as it stands in Belgium. But guys, I believe that is all for now. I'm going to have a very quick check of the news before we move on. And yeah, nothing else as of yet. If there's anything else, obviously be sure to follow us on the social medias at Talking Wolves everywhere. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you agree, disagree with any of my thoughts, do let me know. As always, be sure to hit the like button. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. And I'll catch you all very, very soon.